Oh, this can get complicated because probably at the same time you're holding what is a heavy door at the same time as bowing while simultaneously ushering someone through and doing the whole social protocol. بفرمایید.
You can point using your head.
Yeah,
بفرمایید.
nod.
Yeah,
Get
that
your,
way.
Get your ass through the door. Get in.
محوش پریوش چه بد کرد غلط کرد شوور کرد همه را در بدر.
Welcome to Ask an Iranian. We are a resource for those that are curious about Iran and Iranians and maybe feel that the conventional sources aren't necessarily representing the whole story. And of course, we are therefore a means for Iranians who are maybe frustrated by that and want to present their story. I am your host, David. I'm half Iranian and grew up outside of Iran but live in the country now. And I'm here with my co-host, Mohammad.
Hello, I'm Mohammed. I'm fully Iranian, and although I grew up here in Iran, I've had my head in many other cultures as well.
So our aim is to get answers to your questions, either ourselves or by putting it to the Iranians in our audience. So let's get on with the show and get on with answering your questions. On this show, we'll be answering a question by James, which is why can't Iranians get through doors? بفرمایید.
شما بفرمایید.
بفرمایید.
نه تو رو خدا شما
خواهش
بفرمایید.
میکنم بفرمایید.
اختیار دارید شما
اصلاً
بفرمایید.
نمیشین. از راست.
As rust.
So, for those of you who have no idea what we were just doing, this is pretty much how it would go if you were trying to get through a door as Iranian. Now, James is asking us this question not because James knows that Iranians may or may not be rather large, but rather that he's probably had the experience of trying to get through a door with an Iranian.
Oh yeah, if you have asked this, it doesn't matter where you meet an Iranian, you're gonna experience this subdivision of Tarof.
Exactly. So what on Khoda's green earth are we talking about here? We are talking about the door dance, as I call it. So two Iranians arrive at a door and they will be showing their respect for one another. They will be being polite with one another and ushering one another through the door first.
It is actually, for a lot of people, considered very impolite to just go through a gate without giving a pause and maybe putting your hand on somebody's shoulder and trying to push him through the gate.
So my experience of this is, I think, somewhat different to yours here, Mohammed, because for me this is the door dance. The is kind of a thing you do in threes. My experience is you need to go through the social protocol of offering 3 times. Mohammed has a different idea about this or a different experience.
Well, actually, I think the 3 times is kind of a myth. Maybe it's because I don't do it and I don't really care about the number of times I'm doing this. I just maybe I offer once and just pass myself.
This is actually, this is kind of the culture I'm looking to, if I can, arrogantly say, implement here, because these days I think it's fine to just say once and then go through. But you pointed out earlier about the ushering as far as putting your hand on someone's shoulder and sort of not forcibly, but giving a bit of a push to sort of show you how serious you are about getting them through.
Well, define force. Some people don't really go gentle.
A little nudge.
Yeah.
But of course there is something to note here. You would not be doing that to the opposite sex. That is not going to happen in Iran. Actually, in our cringy beginning there with the
it was really cringy. Thank you for acknowledging that.
We had to do that.
Oh,
our listeners had to have the experience of what it is getting through the door. I think we probably did it 5 times there, as opposed to 3.
We didn't have to do that in the beginning of the show, but we did anyway.
Yes, we're going to be ushering, pushing people through the door. You first. You
Ladies.
first. No, you first. Or ladies first, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is that you can just go say ladies first in English, and I think a lot of people will understand it.
Yeah.
Iranians say ladies first in English, in those exact words.
So, Mohammed, I think at the same time, I'm just trying to think now of sort of body, the actions you'll be doing. You'll sort of be bowing at the same time. I mean, this is similar to another show we've done about greeting Iranians. You'd be doing that sort of semi-bow.
Oh yeah, and you lose eye contact.
Yeah.
You take your eyes away from the person's eyes.
Yes.
Maybe you look a little bit down, and I don't know why, but it feels like it. It feels like I would do that. And you point through the door with your hand, and you give them a semi bow.
Yeah.
And
this can get complicated because probably at the same time you're holding what is a heavy door at the same time as bowing, while simultaneously ushering someone through and doing the whole social protocol.
You can point using your head.
Nod. Get your ass through the door. Get in. So the conclusion for this is recently this is the case, and who knows, by the time this show goes out, this is going to be a bit passé. Yeah. But saying from the right, which is kind of the joke, and regardless of whether you're to the right of somebody or not, it doesn't matter. You say it, you go through, regardless. But do you have the experience of that, Mohammed?
From the right?
Yeah, as the rust, as we say, like from the right.
It is turning into a golden rule for getting through doors. So
but
when you get stuck in that sort of situation for too long, and you can't decide, because usually the ladies go first, the elders definitely go first, and if you're kind of like in a equal situation in those regards, so you say from the right, and the person who's standing on the right goes first,
which, as I say, isn't necessarily the case. But both parties laugh, and then it seems to be a toss of the coin as to
personally, because most of the time I usually am not really extra polite, and if they the tariff situation doesn't get that long.
Yeah.
So I most of the time I see that from the right thing works.
Really? Yeah, I only say that because sometimes it's completely not adhered to. It's like we say that, and it's like, oh, that's the joke, haha, and then maybe the person on the left would go,
oh, maybe I say it in a very I put my foot down and very seriously, and people take it more seriously than a simple joke.
Okay.
But if that's happening, I'm happy about it. I don't like to wait at the door.
Exactly, it is a complete waste of time. You've reminded me now that it's not even necessarily just doorways that this happens. Of course, lifts. Of course, leaving meetings.
Oh, definitely.
The lift is the same thing, and then the poor people in the lifts are going to be standing there thinking I need to get out of this building. Come on, stop with the from the right nonsense. Also, I think also when you sort of stand up from a meal table or a meeting, you'll all stand up, but then it's the who's going to move away from the chair first. You don't have that experience. That's
well. The thing is that you usually wait for the seniors to.
Yeah. Who leaves the table first?
I
think that's a. Are there any other occasions whereby the sort of ushering of hey, you first after you?
Basically any kind of exit or entrance situation you can think of, that happens.
So also similarly,
you want to get onto a car.
Yeah.
You do the tarof, you just wait for
the same for queues, I think, as well, which is kind of funny because it both completely happens and completely doesn't. So maybe, for example, you're at a wedding and you're sort of equidistant from the table with somebody else, and because it's close, you're known by people at the wedding. So there's this, you've got to do the dance. So you're like, after you, as in help yourself to the food.
If you want to extend the situation, it actually applies to basically everything. So if there's a spoon somewhere and you want to get something, let's say there's a tongue and you want to get some salad off a table, and you both reach to it, and that after you, the same thing that happens at the gate that happens there.
Exactly.
If you're in a store, you want to pick up a chocolate, and you reach for it at the same time with a different person, you got to do that as well. So
The reason why I say it's both exactly that and completely not at the same time, because you'll have scenarios where people will completely jump the queue and go ahead, and they won't. Yeah. So it depends on how this will jump back to you, as far as like, you know, is this going to reflect upon you? Is somebody else at the party you're known, so therefore you need to play the game? When in a sort of context whereby you are unknown and you don't know the people, screw that.
Yeah. I think you and I had that problem at the airport in Shiraz when we were trying to fly back to Tehran,
where people would jump ahead of us, or the opposite.
No, actually, it's really funny. There was this older gentleman who was kind of cutting the line, and I kind of protested, and because we were speaking in English, and he thought you were a foreigner and I was not. He said, like, explain to him that I'm not cutting the line. I said, you are cutting the line, and the thing is that you told him that no, I do understand Farsi. You don't remember that? I think we're gonna cut this entire thing.
No, I like that. So queue jumping, pain in the ass in this nation, and
I'm sorry, just like finish here.
No, queue jumping is a bit of a pain in the ass in this nation. It will very much not happen, and very much happen depending on the scenario. So thank you, James, for your question on why can't Iranians get through the door. Great question. Outro version 53 in the English language.
Take 69.
Thank you for joining us on this show. We hope we've helped settle your curiosity on this matter. If you're Iranian and think we've done a terrible job, then great. Get yourself over to askaniranian.com or Ask an Iranian on various social media platforms such as Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Where else, Mohammed, can they find us?
Well, not TikTok, because we're not kids.
So you can find us on those social media platforms. Please go there and politely tell us what we've missed. I'm sure there's a lot. We, of course, don't claim to speak for all Iranians, so your input is much welcomed.
If you have any questions that we can put to an Iranian, you could go on Twitter and ask us, reply to any of our posts, or simply email us at questions@askaniranian.com.
So that is questions@askaniranian.com. Do join us on the next episode where we'll be finding answers to more of your questions for Iranians. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Merci. خداحافظ.
آشفته تر کردی اگه رفع بلا کردی فکر کردی خیال کردی